by a guy who's doing it again at a school that he went to. He's a alumni of, and he's being tasked with flipping an entire culture back to what it actually is. Representing an entire state of just tough. Like that is literally what it is. And this guy had a
Hachimaki
on the other day, hard edge bandana. Just letting you know, I'm a samurai of tough. If you would like to come learn from a sensei, I am the guy. If you are tough and you are athletic, we want you here at West Virginia. Now it's going to be hard. Shit ain't gonna be easy. You're gonna have to be tough, but that is what hard edge is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is one of the greatest football coaches of all time. I was very lucky to have him as a college football coach, and now he's back at West Virginia University, the home of tough. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Rod.
Yeah,
Hey, Pat, where did you get that funky picture at? I swore to Raquel I said, I don't remember taking that picture and putting a headband on, but it somehow got circulated. I look like an idiot, but
no, this is a good thing, not a bad thing. This is, you are a hard edge samurai, Coach. You are. Hey, how are you doing, boss? How's life over there?
it's good. Camp was good. I still have my voice. The first week was really tough, but I'm proud of our guys. It's different. Pat, it's a different type of challenge. No matter what coach or what system you bring in, and we're going to be demanding. And I'm proud of the way they hung in there. Now I got to see what we have. We got to play a game and find out what we really have. But from an attitude standpoint, a culture standpoint, I don't think we're 100% there. But we're a lot further along than we were a month ago and 6 months ago.
Okay, so let's talk about a lot further along. Whenever you get the job, you understand that nowadays an entire building is not just the team and assistant coaches. There's everybody in the building now. We got nutritionists, dietitians, trainers, massage, everything. That's a nice facility over there from whenever we were there the last time. That is a very beautiful, upgraded facility. But the entire building has to kind of buy into your culture. How has that been? Because obviously I think the way Neil Brown coached, no offense to Neil Brown, I appreciate what he did for West Virginia University, spent a lot of time in Morgantown, but the way he coached, vastly different than the way you coach and the way you run a program. How has that been? How has it settled in? Was there like a little bit of a culture shock, or do you think everybody's kind of figured it out pretty good?
I think it was going to be a little bit of shock no matter who came in and did their own system. But what's funny, pals, we took the team picture here, a couple weeks ago, and there was as many people in white polo shirts on the staff as there was in uniform. I mean, I couldn't believe all that. I was embarrassed because I didn't know everybody's name. I'm like, there's 100 we're feeding 250 people every day in our building. So that's why our food cost is so high. But
we could probably pay some players, we take some of these polos out of here.
And football staffers and football players don't eat like normal people. You know what I'm saying? Like this normal people out here. No, there's a loaf of bread for one guy might last a day. A gallon of milk ain't going for 2 days. It's crazy, but I'm really fortunate to have it. I think it's, West was changed before when I got a staff picture when I was first here, when you were playing for us. There's like 10 coaches and 4 GAs and like 3 administrators and 1 strength coach, right? Now that's the recruiting room. That's it. So it's a little different dynamic. And so you have more, I guess you have to have more people buy into the culture or help you teach the culture than ever before. And that's the part I'm really pleased about, that the staff really has not only, they got to buy in, they got no choice, right? But the staff has really helped me establish that part.
Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, what do you first game you said we got to see what we have, like what kind of team we are. What are you expecting? What are like some non-negotiables that you have for your team that for especially the first week you want to see and see how they execute?
Well, the easy answer is don't loaf and don't be soft. But that's kind of a standard for anything. But now that's you don't go live that much in practice. You're a couple scrimmages and a couple practices, you'll be live or almost live. But in the games, it's all full go on. And so, you'll see who plays a little bit faster in game time, who's a little bit more physical in game time. Are the lights too big or whatever? And some guys, you think you know what you have, and you guys know this. You guys played at the highest level. There are certain guys that do play or rise to a level when there's a game, and some guys maybe don't. And until you play a game, you got to figure that out. I wish we had a preseason game. It'd be easier to kind of guesstimate what you have. But at the same time, these guys have worked hard enough. They've earned the right to show what they can do. and then we'll see what happens. We're going to play a lot of people this weekend.
I don't know if play a lot of people. I like that. That's a little piece of information and a nugget to find out who you have. I know the depth chart conversation has certainly been hilarious with you. And why would you ever put a depth chart out, especially when you don't know what you have? And the implications are very serious, especially with how transferring and everything kind of works these days. And I think you like the entire room in most rooms. On that note, you brought up a preseason there. I don't know if a preseason game will ever get approved, but it feels like the scheduling and how kind of Power 4 conference football is changing right in front of our eyes. I think people aren't scared to get a loss maybe early in the season, so maybe they'll play a little bit bigger games. You're a guy I know that will play anybody. Now, I know the Alabama thing just kind of ended, but you are literally let's fight in the park. We'll play. Let's play you. How do you feel about where college football is right now with the college football playoff and how it's designed and set up? And was that a big part of you coming back to the Big 12 or back to one of these power conferences in West Virginia?
Well, how college football is, it's a cluster. I better not say the last word, but I think there's efforts to make it better. I still think, I'll give you my opinion. I still think there's a separation that's about to come where there's going to be 50 or 60 Power 4 schools that have their own league, and then everybody else is separate because there's just so many different dynamics in play now, money, financially, what the commitments to programs, what they can do going forward and all that. And so we're running a professional league now. And so as many professional rules that we can follow, which the NFL is obviously the most successful pro organization there is, we got to follow that. So if we're going to follow an NFL model for fairness and equity, we need to get those rules established like right now. Now, people can complain about the NFL all they want. You guys know this. There's fines and there's consequences for not following the rules and all that. The college, there's still not that. And so I think all that's going to have one aspect. But I can sit here and bitch about it. Right now, I'm saying, what am I going to do? What good does it do to me to bitch about? What's the rules right now? What do we got to do to win on these rules? And what can we control? What we can control is our guys playing really hard, playing with passion, all right, and being disciplined. And so this first game, I was on our guys yesterday. I said, we can't have pre-snap penalties. We can't have guys holding. When you hold, you're lazy. That's it. If you loaf, you're a traitor. You play for the other team. So I don't want lazy people, and I don't want traitors. You know what I mean? And so that's not being like a jerk, and I could be a jerk, but that's not being a jerk. That's just being a team, a disciplined team, in my opinion.
If you are loafing, you are a traitor. You are playing for the other team. You are wasting a spot on the field right now, and you are contributing.
Yeah, we've got 10. We've got 10 against 12. If we got two guys loafing, it's 9 against 11 or 13.
They gain. It's you were a wordsmith. You were one of my favorite humans I've ever encountered, as you know. The way you would put words together, and how you're a psychologist. And you say hard edge, hard nose, accountability, discipline, like what you taught me and our entire team, we all have carried into our life. I think in there that understand that and can buy into it. I think the opportunities in the sky is the actual limit. On that note, Tone has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you coming from Jack State and a lot of your coaches coming from Jack State and instilling that culture is huge, but how important is it the guys that you brought, the players that you brought, I think it's like 6 to 8, somewhere around that range of guys that you brought over from Jack State that are in the locker room every day, that are around the other players every day. How important are those guys to instill the culture with the team?
Well, we thought that's part of the reason we thought, well, they're good players, but two, they could help the guy explain to the guys, hey, coach ain't that crazy. It's really a method that we're doing to help these guys be the best version of themselves. But even those guys, I had to get on a little bit,
of course,
which tells you that it's a constant thing. You have to do that daily. Now, there are some guys that get it. You never have to say a thing, but there's other guys you have to fight it every day. I mean, you really have to fight it every day. So it's not a once in a while thing that you ask for in your players. It's an everyday thing. And then once it truly becomes established and ingrained in your program, so to speak, then the only guys you got to teach are the 30 or whatever, 25 new guys going forward every year.
51, 70, 100 new guys. So many new guys.
70. Somebody told me the number was 79. I'm like, damn, no wonder I don't know all their names.
Yeah, it's a lot of players. Signetti did this, though. Is that something you guys are looking at, like a blueprint?
I did look a little bit at what he did there, and had some. He brought a lot more guys in from JMU and were immediate help and all that kind of stuff. But we did think about that a little bit. He brought production as opposed to potential, I guess you would say, and that's the same thing everybody wants. Not that we won't take a Power 4 transfer, or it's got to be the right fit no matter where it is. But there were a lot of guys for us that we thought, we were looking for a move up, or looking for opportunity on a bigger stage. And so they had a different type of reasoning or hunger as opposed to that. The guys that were looking for just a bigger payday, we weren't going to get that guy. That guy's not, plus that's not the mindset that we're going to build the culture around anyways.
On that, Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, so speaking of that mindset, Coach, when you go out and you're recruiting, whether it's, high school kids that might be coming, or it's prospective people in the transfer portal, how long does it take you to identify, like, okay, this is a kid that actually will fit into the culture, when you maybe haven't had him in your building or, anything like that?
Yeah, you have to ask hard questions. I think any coach will tell you that. I mean, it's all about, I know Coach Saban said this, and I've been saying it for the last few years. You're going to buy guys, you got to buy the right players, right? Some schools have been buying them for years, but
whoa,
that's the truth. Everybody knows that. But the truth is, you better evaluation is always the biggest piece. People realize, and if a 5-star is probably a 5-star, you're probably not going to miss on too many of those, because if you're rated as so-called 5-star, you're probably so dynamic that it's hard to screw that up. But everything else is a little bit of a crapshoot if you don't really evaluate, not just his talent and his size, speed, and all that kind of size and all that, but does he really love football? Right now you're getting a lot of guys that play football in high school and college that like it, not love it. I want the dudes that love it and need it. So if you take it away from it, it bothers them. I don't want the guy that loves how many likes he gets on TikTok or whatever it is.
You hate that. Yeah, you hate that. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if that's like a side hobby, but how many likes he's got is more important than beating a block to get a sack, or high pointing the ball in a jump ball situation, or whatever the case may be. That's the wrong dude. I want the dude that just, says, hey, Coach, we get to practice today. Not that we have to practice today. We get to. That's what I want.
Yeah, and you just saying there, does he love football? Like, I just went back to so many moments of you, because everybody on your teams, and you've probably been told this, have had a moment where they all looked at each other and go, Jesus Christ, man, this guy is getting after it. And the weight room is a massive piece of it. And I've heard great things out of the weight room too, because it's like every day is on. I had the incredible opportunity to be a drill instructor for the Marines in this movie called The Mosquito Bowl. Well, the book is called The Mosquito Bowl. The movie's being filmed right now in Australia. Peter Berg's directing it. There is awesome dudes across the entire thing, and watching them become not just actors, but actual team behind the scenes as they're representing the greatest generation and college football in this movie that is going to be, phenomenal from what I have seen thus far. It's like what drill instructors, when I went down to Paris Island to watch them and learn from them, as I was depicting them in a movie that was going to be seen by a lot of people, these are They are supposed to stay on these Marine shit every single moment, basically. And these recruits are, not worthy of being Marines at the beginning. And then once they get through boot camp, it's almost like you've earned your stripes and you have kind of dealt with and went through what a drill instructor has given you for 13 weeks. Nowadays, back then it was 7 to 8 weeks because they're in war times. Instructors, all I thought to myself was Rich Rodriguez would have been a phenomenal drill instructor. I mean, absolutely.
I was just on my team yesterday about discipline. I was talking about penalties, pre-snap penalties, holding because you're lazy, not moving your feet, whatever, or discipline, in your work ethic, whatever it is. I said discipline is a form of love. It's what you do for somebody, not at somebody. But nowadays it's tougher because you discipline somebody and they're like, he don't like me anymore, or what have you. It's like, no, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't even pay attention to you. You'd never hear. I tell the guys, I probably said it to you before.
Oh, yes.
When the day you start screwing up and I don't say something to you, that's when I gave up on you. And I ain't giving up on nobody. And surely I wasn't going to give up on you. And I didn't have to worry about that too much. But some of these other guys, it's like, you yell at them, they're looking at you. I said, listen, I'm doing it for your benefit. I don't never say it that nice, but anyway.
You are great. You are. Just know that when you watch this movie that I'm in, know that I drew a lot of inspiration from like your attention to detail. And also the way that you are trying to get everybody to their best version. Like you said that earlier, but that is legitimately what it is. You just have your way of doing it. Now, there are other ways to do it. I don't think I've ever seen a successful operation not be accountable, not be disciplined. Like all the traits that you pitch are the traits that make a successful anything, business, team, you can name it. So I want to thank you for being my college football coach and for, changing me. And you mentioned it in the press conference, and I texted you immediately afterwards seeing it because I think you didn't want to like step out of line where you're like, if you see Pat, like Pat works his ass off. I think he learned some stuff from our, program. It's like, yes, you can absolutely say that. I learned a lot through your program about how I should approach life, how I should view life, work ethic, what I should expect, all those things. So you should be taking a lot of credit for that. You should not feel like you can't do that.
Well,
so I'm very appreciative.
But here's the point with Pat McAfee and some others of your teammates and other people, that you have on your show, whatever. They not only have that, but they have a certain level of competitiveness that they want to do whatever you want them to do. The discipline, the work ethic, and all that. And so that competitiveness piece of it, I think, is sometimes not looked at as much as well. The kids are, I think, naturally competitive, but the most highly successful ones, like yourself and everybody else that you have around you, they're the ultra competitives. They'll race you to the water fountain, for crying out loud. I mean, if there's one piece of steak over there and there's 20 yards, I'm going to beat the shit out of him to get to it. I mean, everything's keeping score. And some people say, well, it's not right nowadays. You lose, it's this participation trophy thing. Like, are you shitting me? You know what I mean? No, there's a winner and there's a loser. And, if you don't get the participation trophy, then try harder next year,
Yeah, work harder. Work harder building up to it. You didn't earn it. Sports are a meritocracy. And they always will be. What you do in the dark when nobody's watching will certainly be seen in the light when everybody's watching. And what you and your team have done, which we already know, anybody that's been through your shit, we know the boys are going to be ready. And we know that you guys are ready to fight. I can't wait to watch your team. Maybe see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we hope so. Right now, I'm worried about getting the first down in the first play of practice here in about 2 hours, and then I'll take it from there.
I asked him this morning, AJ, when I called him. I said, Coach, how you doing?
That shit's harder than ever now. You know what I mean? Golly, it's like I'm speaking a foreign language still. That first year, I mean, and I got a lot of one-word calls. I'm like, if I had one of these West Coast offenses where you had like 18 sentences to make a play call, we'd be screwed with no hope whatsoever. I got a bunch of one-word calls. You'd think they'd be able to handle it.
Hey, speaking of handling it, hold on. I want to go back to a video that I broke down. I wasn't there. I don't know if you've seen my breakdown of the video that hit the internet. This was certainly equipment manager wearing the ref stripes, not spotting the ball accurately. Is that what this was?
I think it was. No, I don't think it was the equipment manager. I think it was one of the staff members, one of the coaches. I have one of the coaches in charge of being like the umpire or the center judge to spot the ball quickly. And for whatever reason, he was just not paying attention, and it cost us about 10 seconds. And I was like, "That's 10 seconds. I'll never get back. I'll be sitting on my deathbed and wish I had 10 more seconds to live." And I'll never have it back, But because they screwed the drill up, I'll never get that 10 seconds back.
You're the greatest. I'm happy you haven't changed. Good luck. I'll see you soon. Take care of business, ladies and gentlemen. The founder of Hard Edge, Rich
Thanks,
Rogriguez.
guys.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look.